Hello YouTube, and welcome to my new series on tutorials for Microsoft Visual Basic. Before we get started, I'd like to take a minute to talk about Basic. Basic originated back with the very early computers and was one of the first programming languages. Microsoft has modernized it and re-released it as Visual Basic with some new functions, but all around it's pretty close to original Basic. So, now, Basic by itself isn't the most widely used language anymore, but for learning how to program, it's amazing. More advanced languages such as C++ and C++ are very close to Basic, so if you learn it well, there's hardly any learning curve. You will be much better off with learning other languages in the future. So, and you know, it's just a fun language, to be honest. You can do some cool things. So, in the compiler we're going to be using is Microsoft Visual Basic Express. I will include in the description a link to the website where you can get it. It is a very good compiler. It hasn't failed me yet. You have to register it quickly, but it's completely free, and I love using it. Much better than other stuff I've used. So, time for our first project. So, once it's loaded up, you're going to come over to New Project. Once you're in here, you can see there's all the different types of applications and the name and solution name. So, we're going to want to start with a console application because these are the most basic types of applications, so this is where we have to start. And the first program we're going to make, you can come up to name, is going to be called Hello with 2 L's World. And I'm going to have to name it 2 because I already have one of these. Because when you're running a new language, or a new programming language, it's kind of tradition that this is the first program that you do. It's definitely the most basic there is, and it just is, you know, it's pretty much what it sounds like. You're gonna make the computer say hello world, so it's just fun. No, so this will lead to, this will lead to a lot more stuff, so I mean, it's gonna be fun. I can't wait until we get on later. So now, once this is loaded up, you see some text on the screen. At this point, this text really doesn't matter because we're only going to be working, you see module and sub in the sub main. Module pretty much just encompasses everything at this point, and at this point we're also only working in one subroutine, so we'll just stay in the sub main. Later on we will have other subroutines, and I'll explain those when we get to them though. So, time to write our code. First things first, you want to start with console dot and then write line. Now you want to put a parenthesis and then quotation and say, then you type hello world, which is spelled with an O. So, this is your first line of code. Now, the parentheses, when you say console, that's basically telling the code is telling that the computer has to do it. Basically, there's different parts of the computer are referred to in different ways. Like a display in the computer is referred to different than the computer itself. When you say console, that means you're referring to the computer itself, and you switch between the different things as it's needed, and we'll get to that later. It mostly happens when you're creating forms, and which is more of a graphical interface. So for now, pretty much we're just staying with console for all the commands. Now, write line is basically saying console. Now you have to write this on your screen. You have to write my message on the screen. See, write line originally comes from when before there were screens, there were only printers. So they wouldn't be able to display on a screen. And actually, in other forms of BASIC I've used, it was print. So it predates the screens when everything had to be printed off, let all the commands and stuff that are coming in and out. So that's just a little bit of history about BASIC. So that's where that comes from, and just remember, right line. So now, for your next line, actually before that, so I want to explain this. Computers are extremely lazy. It's not going to want to do more work than it can. I know it sounds crazy, but it's not. See, a computer will finish its task and then immediately shut down the program if it's not told not to, because it's that lazy. So, if you go to build and then build solution, this will actually save it and create a file in your, or create a executable file in wherever you have decided to save it, which you can decide in that first screen when you name your console application. So, and then you can come up here to this little green arrow, and if you see, the window only pops open for a quick second. That's because of the laziness of your computer. So now, we have to tell our computer to wait. We have to tell our computer to wait until we say it can shut down. So we're going to add console, because, again, we're talking to our computer, dot, then we want to have a read line, because it's reading what we're telling it to do. And we can just do empty parentheses like this, or, yes, empty parentheses, because it doesn't matter what we put in. We just basically want it to be so when we input the whatever we want by hitting enter, then it will shut down. We just want to wait for us to hit enter, basically. So it doesn't matter in here. Parentheses, for now in both console.writeLine and .readLine aren't as important, especially in WriteLine. They're not important at this stage because we're only doing simple displaying word commands, but later on they will become important, so it is a good habit to put them in. Sometimes I will miss them, but don't freak out, they're not gonna blow up your program. So now we can build our solution. And now when we debug it, our program stays open. So we can, then you can put whatever you want, hit enter, and it just closes the program. Now, this text here can be changed to whatever you want. So instead of hello world, I can do hello YouTube. And now just build solution, and now my program says hello YouTube. So this is really the simplest program. Next time I hope to get to if-then loops, which you can really do some creative things with. But for now, just play around with this, see what you can come up with. You can make your computer say simple things. I mean, I can add another console.writeLine underneath it. And then I can have it say, I don't know, I don't like you. There. And then just put another console.readLine. And, oh, I forgot this. The only thing you have to look for is if you do have an open parenthesis, you are supposed to put an end parenthesis in too. So it's either, when I'm just talking parentheses, it's not one or the other. You have to, you either have them or you don't have them. There's no picking and choosing. So now we can just build solution. And now when we run it, hello YouTube, hit enter, I don't like you. So, just play around, have fun. I hope to have another video out tomorrow, hopefully a lot earlier than now. So, until then, I will see you later. Bye-bye.